My name is Peter Guinta, Guinta, and I'm senior writer for the St. Augustine Record. I went down to see, in Tampa, I saw another prisoner, a female prisoner that came from here. She was a DWI fatality and got 20 years. And she was just a person, and I went down to interview her, and it was very lax. They just let me walk in. I was carrying bags. I could have had anything in there. They locked us in a room. They didn't even check and see what we were doing. It was just a little window on the door, and once in a while somebody would go like this and look in the window, and that's it. We were sitting there talking. I brought a couple of candy bars down for her, which was probably contraband, so she hid them in her clothing. But that's about it. We had been corresponding before that, so I wanted to do a story about what's it like for a woman in prison, and we got a good story out of that. So the rules are made by the institutions, not by us.
Do you think that the media can influence the ability for an inmate to have a better chance of obtaining parole at all?
We have a case here in St. Johns County where a woman had another DUI fatality, one of her own children, and she was in there for a few years, and then asked for clemency. I guess that would mean, I guess clemency means you're forgiven the rest of your time and you leave. The media did a story about it. In fact, we did a story about it. It was coming up, and we were there at the clemency hearing, plus all of her family, and she got it. She was released not long after, and that was the one time we felt that the media might have helped her a little bit. Most of the time, we're just reporting what happens. Dealing with inmates is a tricky situation because even here, once I did a story on the medical care for the St. Johns County Jail, and I got letters from inmates, like an avalanche, saying how poorly the medical care is given, that they had an epileptic fit and they only got an aspirin for it, and it was, I didn't know what to do with that, but we did do a second story about and the sheriff changed the situation at the time. That was under Sheriff Perry. It's just, you don't know who to trust when you correspond with an inmate. They have interests, an agenda that you don't even know what it is. So I don't believe everything I get, but I don't also believe anything that, most of everything the officials say either.
Okay.
Hold on one second before we go to the next question.
Am I
We're
going
getting good audio, but I definitely just...
Am I getting too long?
No, it's fine.
And the answers are
These are good answers, yeah. I think
Okay.
more materials
much better.
than-
just go if I'm
We
getting
need
too.
stories, so it's good. What, in your opinion, is the most vital role the media can play to improve an inmate's situation, like at a facility?
Maybe keeping tabs on the way the facilities run, and making sure that they're compliant and things, just by asking questions and interviewing people that have left there and say, what about this happened to you? I didn't get enough blankets, or I didn't get enough food, or they all have complaints, but sometimes they're valid if there's a whole bunch of different people saying the same thing. Sometimes that's something you can bring to the sheriff or the jail colonel and say, I hear about this, what's this real story? Sometimes it's all just complaints, and they're the first ones to poo-poo the complaints, but all right, don't use the poo-poo.
Don't worry about that. What do you feel would be helpful to correctional facilities and society in general for the media to expose or to educate the masses?
I think it would be useful if the media would do stories about their lives before they committed the crime. Because a lot of the crimes I see are committed by people with nothing to do, too much time on their hands, no idea of what to do. It wasn't like they were trying to do something and they should see the consequences of what happens to people like them. Many young people have nothing to do and hang out, but only a small percentage go out and say, let's go blow up that building, for example, or set it on fire and see what happens. I know I was a kid, and I was a kind of a vandalism kind of kid. You know, I wanted to be a soldier, so we organized little patrols and missions and threw rocks at windows and stuff like that. We were destructive little dudes. But I think it would be helpful if we would do the stories of people just like them, young people, that kind of ruin their lives a little bit. I mean, some people are in there for what may not seem very much, but it's a 20-year sentence. You know, just waving a gun around give you 10 years. That sort of thing. It's not cool to be in jail, even though some cultures think it is. Bikers, these street gangs. Oh, you've been in jail? Oh, wow, you got cred. Mm-hmm. No, you don't. You're just a loser. Sorry.
That's fine. Can the media?
I said I'm not offended.
Is it okay if like?
Oh, you
that's
spent,
that's fine. No,
you spend time in jail?
No. No, I have
So
not.
don't be. You shouldn't be offended.
All right. This is my last question. Can the media play a role in being able to overturn a verdict if the general public feels someone was innocent?
It's a tangential role. They can do stories about the case. They can bring to the public's attention the things that are funny about the conviction. If it's conviction that happened and someone thinks it's a wrong conviction, they can bring that to light, and maybe there'll be some organization. But we're only the bugle. You know, we only tell people what's going on, the facts. It's up to them to organize. So we don't become. We're just there to bring things up to light, essentially, to open up the doors so they can see what the facts are. Maybe ask some questions that the average person wouldn't ask or be able to ask. The sheriff is going to talk to us before they might talk to just anybody, you know, with a question. Maybe, because he knows that his popularity may depend on this particular case. If it's a railroad, then that's obvious. So I don't think we have a real strong role in that. I think we have some role.
Good.
I have a question really quick.
I was going to ask if you had any.
Did you do any coverage on the Danny Rollins murders in the 80s in
Yes.
Gainesville?
Yeah,
You did?
Danny
Okay, I'm from Gainesville, so it's kind of
Oh.
near to me.
But no, Danny Rollins, the Gainesville.
Yes, the Gainesville
No,
murder.
I'm thinking of something else. No, I did not do that.
Okay.
I was working for the University of Florida at the time.
Oh, were you really? Okay.
Yes, and so that was all the people that
Yeah.
worked there. I worked at Shands. I was a
Okay.
medical photographer at the time. And we were making sick jokes, of course.
Yeah, my dad was at UF at the time, which is why I asked. And my friend's mom was on the police force, and she was one of the people that apprehended him, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I guess he's on death row too, I imagine.
He is. He's on death row. I don't know when his execution date is, but he's been there for 20 years now, 15 years.
I know, that's weird, that they last so long.
Yeah.
We just executed one recently. He's been on there 20-something years.
Yeah, I was looking on the site from Tallahassee, like the main page, and they have a whole record of all the death row and execution schedules from, it was like back to 1929 or something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah.
When you say Dan, I thought of Dan Routley, the guy that I saw from Ocala,
Oh.
and that's why I thought about it.
Mm.
He was trying to do his girlfriend a favor. She was like, they were separated in a fight, and so she went to this old man's house, and he took her in, gave her a room, and nothing going on between them. He's an old man, and he took care of her a little bit, and then he came, and he wanted her gone, to go run away with her, and the guy protested, so he killed the old guy, and took his car, and then they both ran away. She, of course, got off by testifying against him, and he got death row for murder and theft, and, so I guess he just lost his temper one time, too many, or too fiercely. You see people can go to prison for this weirdest stuff. Sorry, I was a little nervous this whole time, but hope it didn't show.
No, it didn't at all. No, you were.
Cut out the
Good.
poo-poo part.
That can go. Absolutely. If you want that out, we'll take it out.
Well, actually, if the professor's going to see it, then
Yeah.
I don't care what she sees, but I don't want to be seen like a lunatic or...
No,
No, you didn't
not at
come
all.
up with that at all.
Not at all.
I thought you were going to ask me more questions about being a reporter generally, not just inmate stuff.
Well, that's our assignment is
Yeah.
media
It's
access
media
to prisoners
access to
and
prisoners.
I
televised
see.
executions. So we wanted a journalistic standpoint because we've got a law enforcement standpoint and a criminal lawyer that we've spoken to as well. So we kind of wanted
see.
to get it from all angles.
Well, there was another one I had forgotten when I was talking to you. I did, when I used to live in Leesburg, and I drove south to Avon Park Correctional Institution, where they have a group of Vietnam vets down there in the Avon Park. It's about 60 of them, there for murder, drugs, different things. So they had a little group called, I can't think of the initials now, it's like NITRO, Non-Vets Incarcerated for Treatment Rehabilitation Organization. They had little hats, they gave me a hat. And they would get together and just talk. And once or twice I went down and did a story on the group. But after a while, I just went down and just hang out with the guys for a while, and they have a counselor there from the prison, a lady psychologist, and she'd sit in with, as the monitor for the prison. And she would ask me, Peter, how does it feel to sit in a room with 30 murderers, 14 aggravated assault inmates? I said, well, they were all non-vets, and they all cheered. They all cheered. They have some, and Avon Park is it's a prison inside of a base. Around them they have helicopters. It's flat, just like Vietnam. It has, it has hooches, which we used to, like hardback tents they live in. Not all of them, just some of them. And so they sometimes wake up with these flashbacks. Of course, they hear helicopters, they're sleeping, and they wake up and then they're back in hell again. So they had some psychological troubles.
Sure. Are you a veteran? You said you wanted to be a
Yeah,
soldier.
I was a Vietnam veteran.
Oh, okay.
Marine Corps. I don't have, you probably want this back.
Oh, no, it's fine. We're still talking, so.
You're still running? You're still rolling?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
If you would like, I could turn it off.
No, it's okay.
Okay. Anything else you want to?
That part you can include. I mean, the Nitro group you can include if you like, because that's part of the incarcer. The reporters, in fact, one of the Nitro guys asked me once if he could switch clothes with me so he could walk out and I would stay there, and eventually they can't arrest me. He said, say I beat you up and tied you up in the bathroom. I said, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. No thanks.
Yeah, do you have any other questions?
No.
That's all I can really think of.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time. Very informative.
Been a
It's-
lot.